So we are facing a real threat here in the United States, and some experts say this could be the beginning of the next pandemic. That is how serious this threat is. So today I want to address where this threat is coming from, why millions and millions of people are currently being told to just be prepared, understand what is coming, and understand that this might just be the beginning. So again, I'm going to break this down in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. With experts coming out and saying that this could be the beginning of the next pandemic, I want to be very clear on something. This would be the very early stages, and here's why. This is the story. It says bird flu in Texas, and the largest U.S. egg producer temporarily shutters facility after H5N1 virus found in chickens. This is the bird flu, okay? I want to be very clear on this. This is the bird flu. The concern here is not that chickens are contracting the bird flu. Yes, that is concerning. Egg prices are going to go up a little bit. We're going to see chicken prices go up a little bit as well, because chicken and egg production is going to be slightly decreased over a little bit of time. But the concern is that a person actually contracted the virus. It says here, okay, this is from a Forbes.com article. It says only second human case of bird flu in U.S. as global virus expands. This is the concern, is that now we could potentially see this get transferred to humans. That's the concern. That's why many people say the threat is real, because of the interaction that like farmers have with chickens, with poultry, with their cattle. Okay, this is the concern, especially when just a couple weeks ago we learned that cattle were contracting the virus. Again, that's something new. We didn't know that that was something that was going to happen. But here's the issue. How prepared is the United States if this bird flu pandemic were to actually hit us? How prepared is the United States? Well, that's what I want to get to. And I want to read you a couple things, okay? Look at this. It says the CDC and the whole U.S. government is taking this situation very seriously. We had not seen avian flu in cattle prior to last week. This is new. It's a reservoir for virus to circulate and potentially change. That's one of the concerns. And again, like I said, it wasn't until last week that we even knew cattle could contract the bird flu or the avian flu. And so now that they have, now our concern is, okay, this right now is changing. This is modifying. And as it does, is this going to change enough to impact us? That's the concern. It goes on to say the development underscores critical questions about whether the country is equipped to handle an influenza outbreak after the COVID pandemic. The worst global health crisis in a century exposed the weaknesses in the nation's public health infrastructure and decimated the public's trust in key federal agencies. I think we can all agree that whatever the CDC says now, we question every single time. Whatever the World Health Organization says, again, we question every time. Because do they have another motive? Is there another agenda? Well, the concern, though, is what is going on with the United States. And do we have the ability to actually get us through and handle another pandemic? Well, according to multiple articles, they are saying that the United States has asked for additional funding to prepare for another pandemic. Just want to read you this one right here. Hey, look at this. It says the government group responsible for defining requirements for medical countermeasures called for $1.15 billion in funding for pandemic influenza for 2025. Now, if you remember, about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, I talked about how billionaire Bill Gates, he has put together this kind of this plan and talking about the next pandemic, the next big crisis. And he states this is likely to happen in 2025. Guess what? This right now, this bird flu, this just the start of it, if this drags on into 2025 and now it starts to spread and hits poultry, hits cattle, and infects humans, well, that could be the next pandemic. I want to keep reading this though. It says, Doschel said, but the $335 million in Biden's 2025 budget request fell far short. It says Congress appropriated $335 million for pandemic influenza preparedness in the most recent appropriations bills. So instead of 1.15 billion, they got $335 million. But yet we're still trying to send $60 billion over to Ukraine. Yeah, so we got our priorities straight. Now I want to read you something else, okay? The reason why this is turning into a bigger issue is because it's potentially going to impact humans, okay? It says officials in Texas reported only the second case of avian influenza in a person in the U.S. on Monday. In a patient who had direct contact with infected cattle, the infection spreads rapidly among herds across 5 states, having impacted millions of animals in the land and sea. So right there, okay, it says in a patient who had direct contact with infected cattle, the infection spreads rapidly among herds across 5 states. Okay, let's read some of the key facts. It says the patient was tested by the Centers for Disease Control, or the CDC, and Prevention after reporting eye inflammation, according to a news release. They say that he's recovering while being treated for oseltamivir and antiviral. It says the second reported human case of the H5N1 in the U.S. after an individual was reported in Colorado in April 2022 who had direct contact with infected poultry. It says the new case, which involved direct exposure with suspected infected cattle, does not change the risk for the general public, which remains low. It says there are no safety concerns about the nation's dairy supply as of March 29th because the pasteurization process required before production hits the market. Okay, according to the joint statement from the CDC, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So right there, good news, there's no initial safety concerns about the nation's dairy supply. However, this can evolve. That is the concern. The threat is real because this is evolving. This is not just infecting poultry. This is not just infecting our birds, right? The chickens. This is now seen in 2 humans and in cattle. So this is evolving, and that's the real concern, is how evolved is this going to get over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, even over the next year. If this is not something that we can potentially slow down and have some type of shot for, then what do we do? Okay? I just wanted to provide you with that little warning because right now, again, survivalists are warning that the H5N1 bird flu, this threat is real. That this is something that we need to stay on top of. This is something that we need to be well aware of because this could impact us all very soon. So I will leave you with that. If you have any questions regarding the H5N1 bird flu, please let me know. You can ask your questions down in the comment section below. As of today, that is all we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.